We have it. All right, so I was actually gonna save the curse deck for the round robin because yeah, I was gonna save it for the round robin, but it's gonna be D shift.
Ooh, that's probably a really good choice. Yeah, I can see that. D shift was very popular, kind of in Wonderland Dreams, and saw kind of a lot of play. And it's one of those decks that I think never necessarily dies, but can kind of come back or fade out depending on what's happening in the meta. But Leca versus Balaen, their mulligans are done. Going to be neutral forest against that mid sword that we've been talking about. Take it away, guys.
See, so here's a question for you, Aya, real quick.
Sure.
Odin, why is Leca playing Odin? Why do you think that?
I honestly could not tell you. So Odin does do a few things, right? Odin does give you a way to get rid of a PDK. Okay, so if you don't, say, have a buffed up Elf Twins Assault, or, you know, Cassiopeia that can clear the board, because it generally won't, you know, not against PDK board anyway. Odin does give you a way to get rid of a PDK if you happen to be playing against it. Of course, we know he banned it.
Right.
So
maybe a hedge against Seraph. Maybe he saw Seraph like yesterday and he's like, I really don't want to lose a Seraph. I mean, that's really the big reason to play it. Maybe, you know, it's just for extra Bahamut kills in the late game against other late game decks. But Odin seems kind of out of the meta right now, and just interesting to see that card. I'm sorry to cut you off. What'd you want to start saying?
No, I was just gonna say, hey, no one's playing Seraph. Okay,
yeah.
No one's that crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, no one's playing that. But actually, Odin ends up being quite good against that mid sword list we saw, because he can get rid of those front guard generals.
That's true. So it is good against front guard general. Okay.
So that is, now we don't know that he knew that, but I'm just saying, like, incidentally, it ends up being pretty good against that.
We also haven't seen anyone actually put a front guard general into play yet.
No, we have not. No front guard generals have made as of yet. We're on watch looking for it, but so far it hasn't happened.
That's right.
Because it hasn't been a reason to play it, you know, in the matches that we've seen. Not that front guard general is bad; it's a great card. It's just we haven't really seen a reason for anyone to play it.
So here's another question I got to pose to you, because I've been thinking about it for the last couple matches here. So Neutral Forest seems to be this new meta deck that a lot of people are gravitating towards, right? Every single game that we see it played, it just loses the board so easily. Everything's so expensive in the deck. You can't really 2-for-1 very many times, if at all. I mean, Lyriel save Lyriel, but that's not a Forest card, of course. That's a neutral card. Like, and there's, you know, they're not playing Will the Forest. They're not playing Cassiopeia. Like, they're just not playing anything that clears boards. And they're not playing the Sahaquill package. Like, it just seems super clunky to me.
It does. I'm a little perplexed by the decision making of, you know, for the Neutral Forest. I mean, I feel like Neutral Forest is there to kind of fight against PDK because it's pretty decent against that. But everyone's banning PDK, so my question is, like, what matchup does Neutral Forest actually win? You know,
right. And so far as we can tell, it doesn't win against these mid-sword decks either. Mid-sword seems to be taking it out, even team killing with it. You know what I mean? So
yeah. But I actually wanted to say earlier that I actually like Leca's pick to start with this list, because he may have realized this was a bad matchup. So by allowing Balaen to win this matchup, he takes his sword out of the equation, and it gives him the ability to play his sword and not be countered.
That's true. That's very true. I like that thought process. Basically, not playing the deck that gets countered and just kind of scooping up this matchup. Not trying to scoop it up, of course, but at least if this sword deck wins, it's not going to be able to be played against the aggro sword deck of Leca, which is where he doesn't really want to play it. So
right, he doesn't want to play that matchup. Knows that it's bad, and if he had played aggro sword in this particular matchup that we just saw, he probably would have lost just as badly as this happened right there.
Right.
Because
exactly
that the boards and the cards that Balaen was playing, he's playing on fire, man. He's like, look, man.
Yep, I know what I'm doing. Very straightforward. Like, we didn't even have a lot to talk about that. That was just Balaen curving out, doing what Sword does alongside of Mars. We've been talking about Mars a lot, but putting in a lot of work there, being able to use Novice Troopers to push through Grimnir without any evolution orbs. I mean, just really, really strong cards.
Now, the way that Balaen's dirt list is kind of set up, it's actually set up to, it looks like, to counter Sword. Because it's running the Apprentice Alchemist, you know, and I believe that we may have seen a Golem Assault. I don't think it was a Golem Assault, but I do remember.
But even just Apprentice Alchemist is not a card you see a lot in dirt, and it's got to be a hedge, right? It's just an anti-aggro card. It lets you play another 2-drop in your deck, so very well suited for this meta game. I think all Disaster did a good job.
But the problem is no sigil.
No sigil at the moment. That's right. So aggro Sword is going to take kind of a lead here. Now, Balaen, while not getting sigils, did get followers he could use to trade with the board early. So definitely not out of this by any means in the early game. But it's going to get tougher and tougher as the turns go on, of course.
Yeah. So he's just going to... I like getting rid of that. No, actually, I like getting rid of that because unchecked, that card goes nuts. Okay? So I actually really dig taking it out. It goes nuts on Sword board.
Of course it does. I mean, you get to trade basically forever, but not having any sigils in the first 3 turns would have made me think, maybe I don't need to do this now, and maybe eating the sigil before a Master Mage Levy can come down to clear one of my boards might be a good thing. Maybe that Magic Illusionist isn't the biggest problem I have to deal with coming up. But electing to make the trade, which I find that to be probably one of the most interesting choices so far that an aggro Sword deck has made.
Well, I don't think it was a bad choice. The thing is that he has tons of value cards. He's got the Council of Card Knights. He's got Roundtable Assembly in his deck. He has Outweed's Command. So he's got tons of value cards. And even though he is playing aggro, at this point, he's not necessarily forced into a rush to, you know, just go straight crazy and just go all face, even though we know that's the primary game plan of the deck.
What also I find interesting is that usually we've seen our aggro Sword players put the Ephemera into play before they start out, like basically before they start unloading the rest of their hand. Leca opting to go for the more playpoint oriented play with the Council here instead of playing the Ephemera first. Now, I almost really agree with, like, we have not seen Ephemera just being played into a bald board with all of the value cards in your hand really steer aggro Sword players wrong. So I'm almost inclined to say that not putting the Ephemera into play first might have been a mistake.
Maybe. I don't know exactly what he could be afraid of by not doing that. And we just noticed a very interesting line of play. He chose to not play his Dance of Death, yet instead to play his Ward. What do you think of that line?
It's rough to me because the Bane exists. Because the Bane exists, that Wizardess is dying, especially using the Evo on the Wizardess, and not the Ward to actually like force an Evo over. This is yeah, I don't know. Keeping the Bane in play here basically just gives so much value to Leca on this turn.
Right. Well, getting rid of the Dance of Death is mega value. You know?
Like, I think I would have rather had the chance of keeping my Wizardess alive or forcing my opponent to Evo heavy into it and losing a small ward. And, yeah, using the Dance of Death not only for more damage, but just a lot harder decisions for my opponent to make. So, yeah, definitely different line of play, for sure.
Well, this is interesting. So, he's pre-Evoing... Or is that not pre-Evoing, but he's actually Evoing the Ephemera. And... trading with that so that he can push damage because he has another one in hand.
Yeah, I don't mind this play at all because, you know, Master Mage Levy, very hard to pull off right now. No Evos left. So.
Well, he got a Sigil finally. You know, finally got one of those.
Yep. Most likely saving it for Carl. Gain a little bit of extra damage there.
Oh yeah, this is going 100% face. It's not trading.
Extra life gain. No more trading. Yeah.
No. See, I think Leca played this game very well. You know, despite the fact he is, you know, he is the very aggressive player, but he's actually played around Balaen's cards very well. And now we know that he has to play, Balaen has to play this deck again against the Forest deck. And I think the Forest deck may have, the way that it's configured, may have a little bit of a better chance than Crumzion's listed.
Definitely. Like, realistically, it comes down to the same stuff. It's just, can I get my errands to gain some life? Can I play around a mutagenic bolt to not die to it, and then just get to my end game? Because I think that neutral force is actually set up just fine against, very specifically, Dirt Rune.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It can be a little bit of a rough matchup. It can be, but to me, I think that the matchup plays out. I think it's a little bit in the favor of neutral forest. I feel, because they do have
it might be slightly. They have the heals, they have big wards. They don't play a lot of followers to make Piercing Runes and Dance of Deaths and Mutagenic Bolts that much better. Sometimes they even pass. Beauty and the Beast can't be targeted by any of them, so it can definitely do it. And honestly, we haven't even really seen an unchecked big Beauty and the Beast early yet. And we're definitely due for that.
Yeah, we haven't seen it because 2-minute boards keep coming up that prevent it.
Yeah.
Just keeps happening. But now we're actually seeing, you know, Carl healing up, but unfortunately, I don't know how much he can really heal out of this. Yeah, this is a lot to deal with. I don't know how much he can really heal to get out of this.
Not only that, but like Centaur Vanguard, even with an activator in hand in the Princess. So gonna have to deal with this entire board, period, just to be able to stay alive for another turn.
Well, he can definitely trade with the board. He can play the Halo Golem to shoot something, and then he can play another Sigil, so he'll be able to gain another health. So, off of the Carl.
It was an interesting choice to not play the Cauldron before the Periscope or the Telescope, because it could have essentially drawn him an extra card earlier. Oh, he's not even going to want to put it into play now. Okay.
Yeah, well, he certainly can.
Right.
Yeah, he really can't play it now.
So actually, this line gave him the best chance. So I like everything he did. Forget about playing Witch's Cauldron for extra card draw. Carl at the very end there, gaining him the extra life to put him out of a 3 damage range. Super important.
Yes. Carl is so good in this matchup. So good. But now we have a problem with
board space.
Leca is now, well, yeah, we have board space, but Leca is now in top deck mode. Now, we do know that Sword has plenty of cards that they can draw to win this game. So it's not so much as top deck as, I'll call it, destiny draw. Like, can you believe in the heart of the cards enough to draw the one card you need that, you know, you probably have 50 of because it's aggro Sword?
This is also a tough play for Balaen, too, because Scrap Iron Smelter is the best looking play, but it will fill up your board. Right? So it makes it possible. Ooh, okay.
Well, that's a little confusing.
That is. Why not play the Warp first?
This makes him dead
not the Warp, but the Sigil.
Yeah, this makes him dead to a lot, actually. He's not dead to that. Yeah, he's not dead to that. But I like leaving the board. He can survive this attack. Leave the board filled. Don't let him be able to heal anymore, this and other. So if he draws Novice Trooper, Princess Juliet, any of those cards, you know, game.
Ooh, not quite.
Oh, nope. It's
so he's going to have to trade. He's going to have to board trade here.
Yeah, he's going to have to trade with a Halo Golem. And that's not what you want, ever.
No. Now he's just praying for Albert. Albert's the saving grace.
Yeah. Albert is literally the only way he can win this game. Not to say that he can't draw it.
Round Table Assembly could do it.
Well, no. Well, actually, yeah. I guess that could do it.
Round Table Assembly could do it.
All right, let's see. Oh. That's none of those cards.
Good old one drop. Good old one drop. Yep, Balaen feels bad for him, but Balaen playing very well, keeping himself out of lethal range by the hair on his chinny chin.
Yeah.
Balaen takes the win. Upper finals. you know, and gassing out is something that happens for aggro decks, right? And that's still a very real thing. We talk about some of these card draw options that are now available to a lot of decks through Staircase and specifically through Swordcraft with the various